way around chord construction, that's going to be really helpful. If you don't, I've done a little series of videos on this which will explain that. So if you're not totally comfortable with the idea of chord construction and some of those concepts, good idea to go back and have a little look at that. But assuming you are comfortable with that, I'm going to just look at the construction of what we're going to call dominant chords. Now, dominant chords are ones with a flat seventh in. So basically anything that's bluesy or rocky, by and large, is going to be a dominant chord. So this is massively useful to us in rock playing. With a G7, we've got 1, 3, 5, flat 7. With a G9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. A G11, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. So this is the fourth, but an octave higher. And 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 9, 11, and 13. Okay, now that sounds like loads of possibilities and a lot of stuff to learn. Think of all those scales you've got to learn to play over those chords. Well, here's the good news. You don't have to. You already know how to. If you know how to play a C scale, you can play over every single one of the chords I've just mentioned. And what I want you to do now is just have another look. This time, have a look to see how many sharps or flats you can see. Okay, now, you'll see from that, there aren't any, are there? Okay, so there isn't really a G9th scale or a G11th scale or a G13th scale. That doesn't exist. What there is a G7th scale, because they're all G7th chords with notes added on to them, none of which don't exist in the original scale anyway. So okay, so how do we play over those chords then? What if it's a G9th? Well, the simple answer to that is that you picture the chord in your mind's eye. So if I've got a G9 here, okay, and I'm playing a C scale through that. So all you have to do, just think about, let's suppose I'm playing a C scale up here. Okay, now I've got a G7th sound. So here's a really important thing. A lot of people think that once they start playing a major scale, they've got to kind of, sit up straight, put a tie on and pick every note and so forth. You don't have to do that. You just need to know where those notes are. So let's take a little example. Okay, I'm trying to play over a G7 or G9, and I'm trying to use my C scale, and I play something like this. Well, okay, they're all notes from my C scale, but phrased in G. But the trouble is, it's a bit wooden. It doesn't sound very, very musical. If I did something more like this, or another thing as well. If this works for a G7, G9, G11, G13, then we can combine it with our pentatonics. Again, massively useful. Let's suppose, now we've talked in the past about different places you can play the pentatonic and how some of them aren't very practical. They just don't sound, they're not easy to get nice phrases out of. And this is where our major scales help us out. I'm going to just change the key for the sake of not using open strings here for a second. So the C scale is the fourth of the G. So every time we play it, we're going to end up on a sus4 if we play C to C. So we've got to think, you know, we've got to have our ear in G. Okay, that's very important. But anyway, I'm just going to move that up to A now for a second. So here's an example of a pentatonic scale. Now there's lots of ways I could play this much nicer, but I'm intentionally going to play this a bit wooden. Okay. I think that's a ghastly fingering, to be honest. There's different ways of, you know, there's all sorts of things we can do with that which will improve that. But the fourth of A is D. Again, we're on the fourth. Yeah. Okay, imagine you're playing over this. Now really what I'm doing there is using a G scale. Now with due attention to the fact it's a rock major, so that's it for this particular video. I'm going to suggest what you do is try and stay in one key. So play yourself, let's go back to G. Let's say play yourself a G. Sorry, got a bit carried away there, but anyway, okay, lots of stuff you can do with that, but I'm going to come back to some of those concepts in the next video. So in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. If you could subscribe, that would be great, and we'll be getting on to yet another part of this idea of playing over rocky chords, in other words chords with flat 17 in the next video. Anyway, so bye for now.